Hi, this is Tim Mosso here with the 2023 stainless steel 28-piece limited edition Hautlence Vagabonde Series 4. A new launch for the new model year from the reborn Hautlence brand. This is a timepiece that combines the best of several different threads of horology into a single stainless steel rhodium dial wandering hour TV screen package. So let's talk about the basics. This is a 28-piece limited series in steel, and the dimensions from lug to lug, we'll go with that first, 43 millimeters, 12.2 millimeters thick as I measure it, and across the case, not including the crown, it's approximately 51 millimeters. That's what my caliper returned. So the watch is part of the Hautlence brand, which, like Moser, is owned by MELB Holdings. The company was originally founded in 2004, and the name is an anagram for Neuchâtel, so that's where the name comes from. Today, business and production operations are more highly centralized and combined between the two primary MELB brands. So, for example, if you look at the inquiry and business office for Hautlence today on a map, you'll find it's in Schaffhausen at Moser. So, these are two sides of the same coin. You get a uniform level of quality and after-sales service with both Hautlence and Moser watches. Let's talk about what makes the Vagabonde Series 4 special. On my wrist, it is a timepiece that draws on Hautlence's original design language from the 2000s, back when they were known for making wandering time, jumping time, retrograding time displays in rectangular cases. And while that wasn't the extent of their production, that was their signature. Here you can see why the TV screen aspect ratio makes so much sense. The watch is short across the wrist, so lug to lug, it's actually shorter than a 36 millimeter date just on an oyster bracelet with solid end links. It's also fairly flat. I measured 12.2 millimeters, and there's a little bit of a slope to the lip of the bezel in the crystal, so although it is not, strictly speaking, a dress watch, it will disappear underneath the cuff, and I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. My wrist, once again, for reference, is 16 centimeters. The strap is of high grade, as you can see, proprietary and fully integrated. The case flanks have noticeable hollows, and that extends into the profile of the strap. The strap has a nice, soft, frosted finish. There's some character lines molded into the flanks. We have these molded bevels. The strap is a Hautlence factory piece that is specific to the model, and it's equipped with a matching stainless steel buckle, which includes a combination of satin finish and media blasting with the Hautlence logo built in. Rolling over to the case flank, you can see that there are outriggers on both sides. We have this character line formed by the outrigger at 9 o'clock, and then shear guards for the crown over at 3 o'clock. There is a rubber shoulder to the crown, which features media blasting and then raised relieved polishing for the Hautlence logo. Take note, the bezel has a lovely and subtle bevel that runs circumferentially, and there's a nice distinction between the subtle highlights and then the dominant satin finish of the case, so you get that jewelry-like twinkle of polished surfaces. Now, the watch features a satin finish on the bezel, similar to what you would find on the bezels of 1970s watches that originally made the TV screen shape both popular and frankly a thing, as the name rarely was used prior to 1970s era watches. And then you have that lateral satination, often associated with the period and accomplished with a lapping machine. The bezel is sharply faceted and cambered, making it distinctive and probably fairly expensive. The bezel gives way to a rehaut that runs around the dial. You can see it's a satin-finished metallic flange that features the company name as well as logo. And then we get to a chiseled-like texture made of brass that has been rhodium plated to give it a diamond dust-like effect. So what you're looking at is a chiseled and rhodium plated dial base, and it does look like sparkling diamond dust. Underneath the primary sapphire, we have a secondary sapphire with a minute scale. This is in some regards in the tradition of the wandering hours complication that first hit wristwatches in 1991 with the AP Star Wheel, but unlike, for example, Arnold & Son or AP or Gorilla or Erwerk, we don't have the same type of carousel display. Instead here, the hours on their respective discs are fairly static, and it's the minute scale in sapphire that rotates. What makes this different from the Endeavor flying hours is the manner in which the succeeding hour comes online, see how there's a shaded portion to the sapphire inboard? On the Moser Endeavor flying hours, it can be confusing because near the turn of the hour, two different hours are legible. So with this little screen that orbits around, it largely obscures the hour that is not in effect. And you can see how the mechanism operates in seamless fashion, and it is almost always easy to tell the current time. For example, right now, 10:45. So those little discs rotate, and the shaded portion of the disc helps to clarify which hour is the current hour. And you can see it is bidirectional and very robust. I'm going to do a quick loom shot here. As you can see, the watch is fairly dramatic in its luminescence, though the luminescence is more for dramatic effect than legibility, so take note of that. Now, impressively, this watch is 100 meters water resistant, so if you want to take it swimming, you are good to go. The movement has been customized. We would conventionally identify this as the H. Moser & C C806, and technically speaking, they're almost identical. There is one extra jewel on this movement. It's probably an updated version of the base caliber. The real change is going to be in the treatment of the finish. We have here a satination rather than the Moser double-crested Côte de Genève, and the actual balance bridge is different in its profile. It's a more modern, less traditional skeletonized structure. You can see that there is a Hautlence specific rotor, and it pivots on ceramic rotor bearings. It's a bidirectional winder with a magic lever style winding system, so very efficient and tough. The balance beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. We have a free sprung balance and a full balance bridge for shock tolerance and toughness. Automatic winding, generating 72 hours of power reserve. And although the watch does not feature a running seconds display, it does feature hacking seconds in case you want to see the balance, which is a recessed bolt variable polar moment balance. It's handsomely finished. I'd say it's similar to what you'd find on, for example, Zenith Jaeger-LeCoultre most Audemars Piguet watches, a combination of manual and mechanical execution that shows well. In particular, the black polished screws are impressive. And then we have a escapement, a balance, and a hairspring made by Precision Engineering, which is a Moser company that makes assortments. So escapements, balances, and hairsprings. Very, very, very difficult to achieve that kind of production in-house, and Hautlence benefits from that. So this is the new Vagabonde Series 4, a new era in 2023 for the Hautlence brand. If you are interested in this watch for pricing or sales, reach out to me at Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com.